Are you taking the solicitor's qualifying examination? If so, this video is a practice test to help you prepare for the SQE1 exam. The topic tested in this video is the High Court. I will explain what you need to know for this subject, which I've set out in this easy to learn diagram. This is part of a broader diagram which you will have seen from an earlier video in this series, including everything you need to know about the court structure and hierarchy for the legal system section of the exam. We will zoom into the different parts of the High Court and its division of labour. To download this diagram in high resolution, just sign up to the link below. I prepared it because there is no diagram this comprehensive setting out what you need to know in the SQE1 exam on the courts and tribunal structure. By signing up, you will also get access to the first part of our full SQE preparation course for free. My goal is to help you prepare for and pass the SQE examination first time. At the end of this video, we will go through this practice test question together for this topic about the High Court. The High Court has three divisions: the Family Division, the Queen's Bench Division, and the Chancery Division. The structure of the High Court also involves various subcategories of specialist lists and courts, which we will go through now with reference to this diagram. The Family Division. The Family Division is one of the three divisions of the High Court of Justice, together with the Queen's Bench Division and the Chancery Division. There are various family matters assigned to the Family Division by the Senior Courts Act 1981. These encompass certain complex matrimonial matters, including custody of children, legitimacy, parentage, separation and divorce, and adoption. It also hears appeals from certain decisions made by the lower family courts. The Court of Protection. The Court of Protection is part of the Family Division of the High Court. This is a specialist court which makes specific decisions or appoints other people, known as deputies, to make decisions on behalf of people who lack the capacity to do so for themselves. The Court of Protection can decide whether a person has capacity, in other words, is able to make a particular decision for themselves. It can make declarations, decisions, or orders on financial or welfare matters affecting people who lack capacity to make these decisions. It can appoint a deputy to make ongoing decisions for people lacking capacity to make those decisions. It can decide whether a lasting power of attorney or enduring power of attorney is valid. It can remove deputies or attorneys who fail to carry out their duties. It can hear cases concerning objections to register a lasting power of attorney or enduring power of attorney. And cases are heard by circuit, district, and High Court judges. The Queen's Bench Division. The Queen's Bench Division is another division of the High Court of Justice, together with the Chancery Division and the Family Division. In terms of its general work, the cases that the Queen's Bench Division most commonly handles are disputes relating to personal injury, negligence, breach of contract, breach of a statutory duty, breach of the Human Rights Act 1998, libel, slander and other torts, and non-payment of a debt and enforcement orders, which allow the court to ensure that a party complies with a judgment against them. Many of these cases can also be heard by the Chancery Division. However, there are also matters which may only be heard by the Queen's Bench Division. These include applications to enrol or register deeds, including changing your name by deed poll, registration of judgments obtained abroad so that they can be enforced in England and Wales, election permissions to challenge the results of parliamentary or local government elections, serving documents overseas and obtaining evidence for foreign courts, registration and satisfaction of bills of sale, so legal agreements transferring title between a seller and a purchaser, and interpleader proceedings, where the High Court enforcement officer is attempting to recover goods to settle a debt and a third party claims to be the owner of the goods. It also maintains a list of group litigation orders for managing cases where there are multiple claimants or defendants. It also contains a number of specialist courts with their own individual areas of work. So when you think of the Queen's Bench Division, you need to think of these areas. The specialist Queen's Bench Division courts are the Administrative Court. The Administrative Court carries out judicial reviews of decisions made by other courts, tribunals, and public bodies. It can also hear applications for habeas corpus, a legal procedure where the court decides to rule on whether the detention of an individual is legal. Applications to prevent someone who continues to initiate groundless legal proceedings, a vexatious litigant, from continuing to do so without first obtaining the permission of a court. Applications under the Coroners Act 1998, which deals with the appointment and conduct of coroners. Appeals by way of case stated from the magistrates' court or crown courts, where the court's opinion is sought on a particular point of law where a mistake may have been made. Applications for an order to imprison a person for contempt of court. Appeals under the extradition legislation. Appeals against decisions made by some professional bodies like the Architects Registration Board and Nursing and Midwifery Council, and applications for restraint orders or certificates of inadequacy where assets have been frozen or confiscated. The Planning Court. As part of the Administrative Court, there is a Planning Court which handles judicial reviews of decisions about planning permission and other challenges to planning decisions. The Admiralty Court. The Admiralty Court is a specialist court as part of the Business and Property Court of the High Court of Justice. It falls within the Queen's Bench Division. The Admiralty Court handles shipping and maritime disputes. Cases that it hears include collisions between ships, disputes over the transport of cargo, salvage of a ship, cargo or crew, disputes over goods supplied to a ship, disputes over mortgages and other security over ships, claims by passengers for injuries suffered, claims by ship crew for unpaid wages, and claims by ship owners to limit liability for loss or damage. It handles both claims brought against the owner of a ship in personam claims and claims brought against the ship itself in rem claims. It can also hear claims brought against other types of crafts, for example, aircraft, as well as cargo. It can seize or arrest ships and cargoes to prevent them from being moved and can also sell them within England and Wales. The Commercial Court. The Commercial Court is a specialist court which is part of the Business and Property Court of the High Court of Justice. It falls within the Queen's Bench Division. The Commercial Court handles complex national and international business disputes. Cases that it hears include disputes over contracts and business documents, insurance and reinsurance, the sale of commodities, import, export and transport or carriage of goods, issues relating to arbitration awards, banking and financial services, agency and management agreements, and construction of ships. Many of these cases can also be heard by the Circuit Commercial Court, formerly the Mercantile Court. However, the Commercial Court generally hears the more complex cases, or cases where there is a large amount at stake. The Circuit Commercial Court, formerly the Mercantile Court. The Circuit Commercial Court is a specialist court which is part of the Business and Property Court of the High Court of Justice. It also falls within the Queen's Bench Division. It handles commercial and business disputes. Cases that it hears include disputes over contracts and business documents, insurance and reinsurance, the sale of goods, import, export and transport or carriage of goods, professional negligence in commercial circumstances, for example, solicitors and accountants, issues relating to arbitration awards, restraint of trade, banking and financial services, agency and management agreements, share sale agreements, confidential information, and injunctions. So you can see that there's some overlap there with the commercial court. There are no restrictions on the size of claims which can be brought in the Circuit Commercial Court. Cases will ordinarily be heard if they are of a genuine business nature and appropriate for the court. The Technology and Construction Court. The Technology and Construction Court is a specialist court which is part of the Business and Property Court of the High Court of Justice. It falls within the Queen's Bench Division. The Technology and Construction Court handles disputes about buildings, engineering and surveying. Its cases include claims about services provided by engineers, architects, surveyors and other professionals in this sector, claims about local authorities' duties relating to land and buildings, environmental claims, for example, pollution claims, claims concerning fires, and challenges to decisions of arbitrators in construction and engineering disputes. The Technology and Construction Court does not normally handle cases with a value of less than $250,000 unless there is a good reason. For example, the case involves a new or difficult point of law, or the case is international. The Chancery Division. The Chancery Division is one of the three divisions of the High Court of Justice, together with the Queen's Bench Division and the Family Division. The Chancery Division is part of the Business and Property Court of the High Court of Justice. The most common types of case handled by the Chancery Division include disputes relating to business, property or land, disputes over trusts, competition claims under UK competition law, commercial disputes, domestic and international, intellectual property issues, disputes over the validity of a will, in other words, probate disputes. It also hears appeals about decisions of masters, insolvency decisions made by High Court registrars or the County Court, most decisions of the County Court, decisions of certain tribunals, and it also handles a wide range of other issues which include claims relating to partnerships, for example, dissolution, cancelling, setting aside or correcting, rectifying errors in deeds and other legal instruments, breaches of trust for a contract, and professional negligence. The Chancery Division also contains a number of specialist courts with their own individual areas of work. The specialist courts of the Chancery Division are as follows: the Insolvency and Companies List, the Insolvency List first. So the Insolvency List handles petitions to bankrupt individuals living in London where a creditor has made the petition and is owed $50,000 or more. It also handles petitions brought by creditors where the debtor has no fixed abode, applications by undischarged bankrupts for permission to act as a company director, and applications to set aside statutory demands where the debt is $50,000 or more. The companies list handles cases relating to the insolvency of companies, including petitions to wind up a company, applications to unfreeze bank accounts or challenge a winding up petition, applications to restore a company to the register after it has been struck off. It also handles a number of other cases concerning companies, including applications for approval of a reduction in share capital or share premium registration of charges after the time limit, appeals against a decision by a liquidator to reject a proof of debt in an insolvency, and applications by either the Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy or the official receiver to disqualify a director. The intellectual property list. The general IP list. The general IP list consists of claims and appeals concerning intellectual property rights, which include copyrights and related rights, design rights, registered trademarks, and claims for passing off and misuse of trade secrets. Appeals come from the Intellectual Property Office in cases concerning registered trademarks, and from the Copyright Tribunal in cases concerning the licensing of copyrights and performers' rights. The Patents Court. The Patents Court hears all cases concerning patents, registered designs, and plant varieties other than those heard by the Intellectual Property Enterprise Court, which hears shorter, less complex, less valuable intellectual property claims. If the amount sought is over $500,000, then the Patents Court will normally handle the case. Most of the work of the Patents Court consists of claims and counterclaims for infringement and revocation of United Kingdom patents. Although the Patents Court hears cases involving all fields of technology, the most common technical fields are pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, and communications. The most technically complex cases are heard by 2 judges who have science degrees and have specialized in intellectual property litigation throughout their careers. They are assisted by a small number of other assigned judges. The Intellectual Property Enterprise Court handles cases relating to intellectual property disputes, including registered designs, patents, registered trademarks, copyrights, and other intellectual property rights. If the amount sought in damages is under $500,000, then the case can also be heard by the Patents Court or the Chancery Division. Certain intellectual property disputes where the amount sought is $10,000 or less will be handled by the Intellectual Property Enterprise Court's Small Claims Track. The Financial List. This is a specialist court within the Business and Property Court of the High Court of Justice. It is a joint initiative of the Chancery Division and the Queen's Bench Division, built on the expertise of judges of the Commercial Court and the Chancery Division. Judges from both jurisdictions have been nominated to sit as financial list judges. A key feature of the list is the particular financial expertise and expertise of the nominated judges who are responsible for the cases allocated to them from inception through to enforcement if necessary. Disputes that are eligible for inclusion are those that principally relate to financial disputes of over 50 million or equivalent, or which require particular market expertise, or raise issues of general market importance. The procedure is intended to fit seamlessly with existing procedures. Parties issue proceedings in either the Commercial Court or the Chancery Division, A judge then allocates the case, but before they do, the parties have the opportunity to indicate any particular feature of expertise that may be advantageous. The competition list. This is a specialist court within the business and property courts of the High Court of Justice. It falls within the Chancery Division. The competition list deals with cases which involve allegations that competition has been prevented, restricted, or distorted. It also includes cases dealing with the importance of unfair prices, unfair trading arrangements, and breaches of competition rules. The Property, Trusts and Probate list. This is a specialist court within the Business and Property Court of the High Court of Justice. It falls within the Chancery Division. The property segment of the list addresses claims, whether between individuals or businesses, relating to title to land, easements, restrictive covenants, landlord and tenant matters, business tenancies, adverse possession and squatters matters, and mortgages. The trusts segment of the list deals with claims governed by CPR Part 64, including the administration of estates, the execution of a trust, and variation of Trusts Act claims. The probate portion of the list deals with claims governed by CPR Part 57, including probate claims, the rectification of wills, the removal of personal representatives, inheritance provision for Family and Dependents Act claims, and presumption of Death Act claims. The business list contains 3 separate sublists: business, financial services, and regulatory and pensions. Business. This deals with a wide range of business disputes, often with an international dimension. Frequently, these concern a business structure, company, LLP, LP or partnership, etc., including claims against directors for breach of fiduciary duty, the responsibility to take care of other people's money, disputes about contractual arrangements between investors, such as share purchase agreements, claims in tort, such as conspiracy or fraud, claims for professional negligence against, for example, solicitors, accountants, surveyors, valuers, and claims for breach of contract, specific performance, rectification, and injunctive relief, as well as other equitable remedies. Financial services and regulatory. This covers financial claims where the Financial Conduct Authority is a party, claims under the Financial Services and Markets Act 2000, and claims involving regulators other than the pensions regulator. Pensions. This covers all claims where pensions are the subject matter of the dispute. The revenue list. The revenue list deals with claims involving major points of principle relating to taxation where HMRC is a party. The list does not include claims for the recovery of taxes or duties and cases where a taxpayer disputes liability to pay taxes. These come within the business list. Here is a sample question of the kind that you could be asked in the SQE1 exam. The director of your corporate client wishes to bring a claim concerning the collision of the company's ship into another ship at harbour, causing significant financial loss and damage to cargo. Which is likely to be the ultimate forum for the claim? The Chancery Division, the company's list; the Queen's Bench Division, the Circuit Commercial Court, formerly the Mercantile Court; the Queen's Bench Division, the Admiralty Court; the Chancery Division, the financial list. The answer is the Queen's Bench Division, the Admiralty Court. I've produced a separate video and section of the course in this series on the High Court, Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. As I say, to download this diagram in high resolution, just sign up on the link below. By signing up, you will also get access to the first part of our full SQE preparation course for free. See you in the course.